How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the Liberty Bowl. It is, of course, live stream Friday. As we do every Friday here, we come together, talk about the latest news and politics, conspiracies, watch the Western civilization crash, burn, and as we now see, rise from the ashes just like a phoenix. Of course, not everybody is rising. Of course, we have countless examples here, but this one was a particular gem that I thought we'd start out with today. Before we get into that, of course, joining me as always, my co-host Liberty Swine. How you doing this week, man?
Damn fine, man. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody and Thanksgiving weekend, right? Hope you got some time off and got to spend it with fam. Other than that, great. Enjoying, as usual, the beautiful Arizona winter.
All right. Yeah, hope you guys are out there scooping up those Black Friday deals. You know, it's a steal, you guys. I from what I hear. I'm just kidding.
was,
Yeah,
was that a racism?
absolutely not. Otherwise, you're gonna have to get this guy coming after us.
We will defeat the Trumpers and the Republicans in Project 2025 because you know what we have that they don't? Unity. All they care about is themselves.
Unity.
And as soon as one of
I was thinking the same.
their friends or allies says anything bad about them, they immediately cut them off. Just see how many times Trump freaking fired people and other things just because they disagreed with his moron ass. Don't worry, everybody. We will defeat the white men. This straight man. I'm a white man, but I'm gay. Not afraid of it. Come at me, bruh. We will defeat the Trumpers and the.
I don't know
They
about
speak
you,
against them. They cut them off. These people have spent the last 2 weeks telling everyone not to hang out with their MAGA relatives for the holidays, man. What the fuck?
right? Yeah, I'm thinking this dude's definitely going to be intimidating quite a few people. It's really funny though how it's like we say all the time, all they do is they kind of look in a mirror and just point out the ugliest things and just portray them on the other people. How they talk about like, oh, if you say anything counter to what they believe in, they'll just outright get rid of you. Look at all the people that Trump fired and stuff like that. Like, hey, fucking all those people, they didn't disagree with them. They fucking backstabbed him and sabotaged him. Like there's a bit of a difference there, it's not exactly the same thing. And at the same time, if you look at the left hand side, at least the way that it's been over the past fucking decade, if you say anything that is not within the fucking leftist narrative of woke ideology, you are outcast, you're fucking canceled, you're gone, buddy. The lack of self-awareness is insane. Oh, looks like we lost Liberty Swine there. Oh, there
I'm
you
here. Yeah, I don't know what the hell just happened.
go. Right? Lightning strikes, man. The fucking Ukrainians are attacking us.
Right. We're getting shut down, dude. YouTube's fucking shadow ban in this lifetime.
Right.
Yeah, man. And it's funny they put the little fucking fact check on there, like on the stream right now about the it's been called for fucking Donald Trump's. Like no one on here's debating that or even mentioning it. What the fuck, man?
Right. Right. Doesn't even matter if it's fucking called for Donald Trump anyway, as we see here. What is it? New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Connecticut are threatening to fucking secede from the United States and join the resistance with Canada.
Right. New Providences in the MAID program.
Right. Meanwhile, the head of Canada, Mr. Justin Blackface Trudeau, has decided to come down to Mar-a-Lago to come kiss the rings of one Donald J. Trump, as Donald J. Trump has threatened, at least thus far. He still has not taken power yet, and that's coming in January, but at least thus far has, vowed that, come January, the first thing he's going to do is impose tariffs on, Canada, Mexico, and China. Of course, a trifecta of all of the illegal immigration as well as the massive amounts of drugs pouring over into our country. And until those leaders could get that stuff kind of under wraps, there's going to be tariffs. There's going to be tariffs.
Yeah, and of course they're both already
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, you also have the left stream media screaming about how this is going to destroy everything. You guys like avocados? You're never having avocados again. Say goodbye to your guacamole. Yeah, it's like
again, that's projection. They're worried about their avocado toast, man.
Right. Yeah, they really think that that's yeah. I'll be honest, my family is a big consumer of avocados. That's practically all my son eats, but nonetheless, I'll deal with a fucking 25% increase compared to the fucking what is it like 100 fucking percent increase that we've dealt with over the past 4 years of the Biden administration. So I'll deal
Not
with
to
that.
mention tacos are fire without guac anyway, man.
Right,
You just
right.
need some onions and some fucking cilantro. I'm fine.
Yeah. So
Good with that.
I'll pay a little bit extra for my fucking guacamole as long as we're not trafficking fucking fentanyl from China through the fucking Mexican cartels up our ass into America. Well, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
For
But
sure.
yeah. So speaking of trafficking shit up our ass through the border, we have migrant caravans closing in, fucking thousands of them. Of course, they heard the news. Donald Trump's taking off. He's going to shut that shit down. So everybody's over here trying to pile over the border as quick as they can. And of course, the Biden administration is doing everything that they can. They're jumping through hoops to make sure that they could get that done for them. Um, see, we also got the Democrats. Sanctuary cities and sanctuary states have basically said that they will not comply with Donald Trump's, of course, federal enforcement of immigration laws, which would, of course, imply the local police coming in and, reporting illegal immigrants to ICE. Um, of course, that's their whole thing with sanctuary cities, which in itself violates federal law in the first place. I don't know how this has been able to go on for so long, but nonetheless, it has, and it has resulted in congressional seats being being added for people that aren't even actual residents. Um, we got the Biden administration also before they leave office trying to burn down everything and start World War III, as they've allowed for escalations within Ukraine by allowing Ukraine to use long range missiles, which are, of course, guided by United States satellites, pretty much operated by United States operators. Um, well, at least NATO operators, but nonetheless, this is basically the United States holding the finger of Ukraine and saying, "Okay, here, strike Russia." It's there's no difference at all. So of course, Russia has struck back with a another long range missile, not a nuclearly armed missile, but nonetheless an escalation in World War III. Um, we also have what is it? I believe Hezbollah or Hamas and Israel have agreed to a ceasefire. We'll see how long that lasts. Of course, the Biden administration is touting it as, "Oh, see that I brought peace to the fucking Middle East." No, you didn't, dude. No, you didn't. We'll talk about everything that is wrong with that fucking conception right there. Um, let's see. We also got whole bunch of other stuff. But either way, that's about the gist of it. We got a bunch of stuff from last week too that we'll just be kind of touching up on. Of course, Matt Gaetz is out of the running for Attorney General. Is the Tyson freaking Paul fight fixed? Well, maybe we'll get to that if we get a chance. But either way, let's go ahead and start out with these Trump tariffs. So, what's your take on it, man? I've been blowing for a while now.
Of course, the immediate outlook, everyone's like, it's going to raise prices, yada yada. But in reality, it's a negotiating tool to get what he wants, and you see automatically, people are coming in, to the fold. Like you said, he hasn't even taken office yet, but yet he's getting visits from these foreign emissaries that are like, "Yeah, we'll work through this," including the current president of Mexico. I forget her name, but
Yeah, that
the
bitch.
Juices from not from Mexico, right?
Right.
But even she's, already, trying to coalesce with the Trump movement. At first, she was all, resistance, this and that. But as soon as he won, it was, well, now I can tell you guys, he's an all right guy. And, so the tariffs are actually going to work out, in our favor, just like previous. And, it's going to encourage, to purchase American products, which I have mixed emotions on, right? Obviously, buying American products helps, strengthen our economy, provide jobs, keeps money in house, so on and so forth. But, you know, everyone, you've heard it across fucking platforms, whoever is speaking. We got, a real outbreak of, you know, laziness, apathy, in
Right.
our country to this point where people think they need to make these massive fucking salaries to do remedial jobs. And that's part of the deterrent of buying, American, like jobs where they have like a Ford, vehicle, for instance. You got all this union shit involved where they've overpriced, labor almost out of the market. These guys are making, $40 an hour, anywhere from 25 to $40 an hour to do stupid shit on a line. And if anyone that works on a line like that, it's pretty, separated. Like you'll do something for a minute and then you'll get a few minutes to stand around, you work for a minute, you know what I mean? It's not even consistent. So, and that drives up prices, obviously. We know that. And not to mention unfunded liabilities. They absolutely crush not only companies, but fucking governments, states, even the federal government for that matter. So I mean that kind of shit's an issue, you
Yep.
know. But
Yep.
I do see it working out in our favor overall, just as a negotiating tool.
Yeah, I mean, of course, as a negotiating tool, I mean, the politics futures market works a lot faster even than the actual futures market, which we're already starting to see a slight decline in the gas. I haven't checked any of the national averages, but at least just within my own experience from being out there on the road driving every day, I've been noticing the gas prices slowly starting to dip since Donald Trump has been the president elect. Um,
Yeah.
and of course, that's because fucking drill, baby, drill. That's his agenda. Um, so, I mean, of course, that is another thing too, is the cost of energy and the cost of production will also be able to go down too. So, I mean, hopefully that could, help to maybe shift the balance in labor costs as well too. But we'll see how it all goes. Of course, the the other thing is, the fucking DEI and fucking basically the participation trophy generation is going to be the people at the fucking wheel of these factories and shit. The people that have been, coddled through everything. The people that have never actually had to face adversity in their entire lifetime are going to be the people that are running these shops. Of course, DEI and all that stuff is starting to take a back seat, especially with the Supreme Court ruling on affirmative action, all that stuff. But nonetheless, it's still going to be the same fucking generation of people that are going to be at the wheel of these shops, and they're going to be probably fucking running them straight into the ground. Especially when you consider that a lot of the regulations and stuff like that these people are used to. Again, the fucking the side bumpers, their training wheels and shit, all that stuff. Not well. Hopefully, going to start decreasing over time. So we'll see how it all goes.
Yeah, and I mean, you've seen the decrease in those regulations in Trump's first fucking term, and that's, of course, the liberals use that as fodder to fucking melt down, like, he's going to destroy the environments. But it definitely opens the gates for fucking revenue fucking generation, man. Really
Yep.
does. Like, you want to save the country, I mean, or at least put it in better health. That's definitely a starter.
Right. And at the same time, too, I mean, a lot of these other places, like China and all this shit that's fucking, gotten all of our technology and all this shit because we sent it over there to get manufactured. I mean, really, that does cut down. It really is a brain drain on the United States as well, because I mean, yeah, they may be just working some fucking machines or something, or placing a microchip here or there, whatever. Again, I don't know how none of these factories work because nobody in America is allowed to fucking work at them. Right? We
Hmm.
don't know how any of this shit works. We can't fix a fucking thing. We don't know how to fucking make a circuit board because nobody fucking does it. Like all these little kids in fucking China, though, they know how to do that shit. So it really does kind of just through learning experience. It really does kind of decrease America's, um, I guess, ability to uh, grow and expand and come up with new ideas within the different fields that we pretty much outsource to other countries.
And it keeps the price of your labor depressed, man. I mean,
Yep.
obviously, the more skilled, and that's the reason that Chinese people come here and statistically, make more than a natural citizen. So
Yeah. Yep. But I mean, either way, like I say, as a negotiating tactic, it's working excellent. And of course, Donald Trump is the guy that wrote the book of the fucking the art of the deal. If anybody knows what he's doing when it comes to you know exerting pressure on these other countries in order to get what he wants, I'm pretty sure it's Donald Trump. I'm pretty sure he's got contingency plan on top of contingency plan to make sure that this doesn't blow up in his face. Right? it's the fucking Don, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll have to see how it all plays out. But nonetheless, when you see the lefties fucking starting to melt down and they start to go get their experts and their fucking renowned economists, that's when you know that Donald Trump's doing something good. So
Yeah, but something I don't hear in any of this, and I mentioned it in a previous episode that we were talking. Like, look, you really don't have a lot of representation as far as the way your taxes are used, right? And one of the things about this admin is supposed to be returning power, right, and cutting federal power. Like you said, reducing regulations and whatnot. But again, this feeds into what we were just talking about. Like, what happened to training? You know what I mean? For job training and whatnot. Like you talk about, we haven't had manufacturing here now for a couple of decades, really. I mean, on mass scale. And, like zero training equates to, inability, obviously. So, I mean, that was something that I would be okay with my tax dollars being spent on rather than, being sent to Ukraine or fucking
right,
Israel or, so on and so
yeah.
forth.
And that's one thing that I do think that this administration is going to at least bring. I mean, of course, our entire system is highly federalized already. It's been, like we talk about all the time, it's been going that way since the birth of this nation, but nonetheless, I think with the I guess just the new movement, the new mind frame that we're starting to see, not only within politics or within the political sphere, but as well within the public. That people are starting to become aware of all the dirty games and the dirty tricks of politics. Um, so I hopefully think that they will start to do different programs and stuff like that that are actually beneficial to the United States citizen. If they're going to be taking our tax dollars and federalizing it and using all these programs and shit like that, it might as well benefit the American people.
Yeah, or stateside, like, they're talking about obviously abolishing the Department of
Right.
Education. I mean, move those dollars to the state rather, and,
Yeah.
let them, like one thing is the left that likes to do is use examples of foreign countries of, we should be more like these people or whatnot, but they never take the good aspects, right? It's always the socialist fucking programs and whatnot. And like China, for instance, like we talk about how they use child labor, and that is fucked up, you know what I'm saying, to an extent. But at that same time,
Mhm.
their people have some sort of tangible skill from an early age and they can
Right.
export it. That's why when they come over here again, they tend to make more, you know?
Yep. And at the same time, I'm sure they're able to threaten their fucking kids. Like, you better stop being good. I'll go set you to go work in a sweatshop. You go pay us $5 a
Right.
day. Like,
Yeah.
you can't do that with American kids. Fucking, hey, oh, we're gonna send you off to the circus. We're gonna ship you off to military school. Nobody fucking actually does that. That threat's fucking empty. All the kids fucking know it.
Yeah, plus most people can't afford it. But like like
Right.
they did
Yeah,
away
that's
with
true.
shop class, pretty much across the board for most, school systems across America, right? And that would be something to introduce back, to gain some skills, but instead of, you could be that like, auto shop or what have you, but then you could also have shop class where it's teaching you how to put together a circuit board and, like, again, some real tangible fucking skills that you're already paying for, but then they want you to pay for again in a 4-year college where they're going to add on a bunch of other classes that are completely inconsequential to the degree that you're searching for, just to charge you maximum amount.
Right. Yeah. How do you think the long term is gonna end up being with education going back, individually to the states?
Well, hopefully in a reverse trajectory. I mean, obviously, a big part of that is something I mentioned earlier is like the union. The teachers' union is one of the most powerful entities in the country, and they're obviously extremely politically bent.
Hmm.
They openly campaign for Democrats and shit.
Right.
So that's a problem right there. Regardless of what your opinion is on a union, this particular one is an issue because they try to make it to where you can't fire non-performing or underperforming teachers. They have like the whole teacher in school suspension thing where they put these teachers in rooms and they get full salary and shit, your tax dollars. I mean, all that shit's got to stop, and there's got to be some kind of an incentive. And I think with a stateside oversight, localized is always easier to affect and to manipulate than a federal leviathan. So, hopefully, back in the trajectory that we were on, which was, number one, people came from all over the world to go to school here. And
Right.
now what are we, like, 43rd or some shit, I
Do you
think
think
even the highest chart is 26th.
do you think we're gonna end up with, I mean, obviously, probably, I'm gonna draw extreme drastics here, but like to an extent where, like, the fucking kids in New York are learning about fucking business and finance, and the fucking kids down in rural Oklahoma are still learning how to read in like 12th grade.
Right, and they're in the local, what was it, 4-H club or whatever,
Right, right.
learning ag, which is nothing wrong with that, but,
Yeah,
it's just, if that's not what they end up doing, they're gonna end up falling behind in a lot of cases. That's why I need to move it forward into the future, man. But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. But as of right now, there is like a standardized situation and it's not paying off. I mean,
right.
especially like reading scores, for instance, are the lowest probably in our history.
Yep. And don't get me wrong, of course, I'm totally pro fucking, abolishing the Department of Education. Just obviously we're spitballing ideas what a possibility might look like, or
Right.
what it could lead to. Because of course, you always want to, you always like, yeah, but then you also got to think what could go wrong, because typically that's generally what happens with government fucking actions. But
I think a big study, part of it needs to take place is comparing because, like, charter schools and whatnot, kids tend to test way higher, and they
yeah,
spend, sometimes as low as a third is a public school per student, but yet they're getting way better results, man.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll definitely get a lot more I guess, data, or more I guess understanding of what works best,
Yeah,
once we
parents got to
fucking
get
break it
involved
up.
though. I mean, you got to
Right.
act like it's still COVID.
Yep. Yep. So that's why I fucking fuck it, get rid of public schools, man. Fucking everybody's just a bunch of fucking low price private schools everywhere.
Right, your tax dollars follow.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, and luckily for me, I don't have to worry about the shit. My kids are out of school, luckily, but I
Right.
fear for everyone. I mean, I even remember myself. I was probably one of the last generations that had like home ec and shop class and whatnot. But still, it was you get into those classes and there was almost nobody in there.
Yeah. Shit, I had wood shop, and I had fucking welding class as high school I
Oh
went to.
yeah,
But that's because I went to fucking high school in the middle of fucking nowhere, so as a
those are usually actually pretty good schools, man. They
oh
usually
yeah.
got good programs.
That's where I'm trying to fucking bring my kids in it. Maybe not in that specific area, but out to somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I got relatives that drive out here every day for their kids to go to school. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere too.
Right. Yeah. Fucking it didn't the school nearby you fucking have that one teacher that, oh fuck, what the hell did she do? Oh shit, I can't remember, man. I remember, I think we covered it like fucking way back. It was like over a year ago, but yeah, I ain't gonna be able to remember it. But either way, fucking yeah, fucking rural schools. That's the way to go, man. That's where you get the most individualized. That's where a lot of the students at least have a bit more, two parent household, maybe more proper upbringing, and maybe some sort of a discipline structure within their lives. So a lot
Yeah,
less.
and it's a lot better to have range as well. Instead of just like I said, the standardized, clear cut. Everyone's learning this today. Like this guy doesn't excel at this, but he excels at this. Let's move him over here to this class group, and it's going to be more beneficial for him in the long run. I mean, more thought process rather than just blindly fucking following the steps.
Right. Yep. Fucking so what do you think of Pam Bondi, man? I want to touch on that real quick. Of course, Matt Gates was the original uh the big ask, as a lot of people are saying, for attorney general. Of course, he dropped out of consideration because, of course, his reasoning behind it was that he didn't want to cause, what was it, unnecessary, I don't know, commotion or
Distraction or what? Yeah,
distraction. Yeah, yeah. So, of course, after that, Donald Trump then appointed former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi. So I don't know much about her, but of course we've been learning a little bit about her over the past week or so. So what's your thoughts on her, real quick?
I said, I mean, I don't know much about her either. Like I
Mm.
never even heard of her until this point. I'm not gonna lie, but I've watched quite a few clips since her name's been, out there, and it seems like she's on top of her shit, pretty witty, quick, handles the media well. But I've also heard, different things, of course, around the inner zones with prior, relationships with entities and the WEF and you know shit like that. So, I mean, like you said, time will tell. He hasn't even took office yet. She could be great. I mean, he seems to have, some confidence in her, but at the same time, we've talked about this so many times, previous picks in the last administration. While he does seem to have learned a lesson, it's only to an extent because then he also, is bringing in, like what the hell is his name from Florida there as Secretary of State, fucking Rubio,
Oh
little
yeah,
hands Rubio and shit. You know what I'm saying? And just a few picks you kind of scratch your head at, but she seems like I said, highly intellectual, witty, quick, and is not afraid to crack a skull.
right. The left is melting down about her just a little bit. Of course, they kind of have the same confusion. That same thing as Pam Bondi. Who the fuck is that? But yeah, either way, they seem to be kind of frazzled about her. So of course, again, that's a good sign. That's the way that you're able to gauge, you know, what's the actual, truth is, what the administration, what the establishment actually thinks of these people.
Yeah, like one of the heads on CNN, one of the clips, he was like, this is even worse. This is Democrats' worst nightmare because
Right,
he says she's competent. She already knows how to do this job. You know what I mean?
right.
So yeah, they're definitely, horrified of the situation, which always makes it more attractive. But at the same time, that's kind of letting emotion guide us. And we see what happened last time, even the mooch. If you remember, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. The mooch just manhandles the meat. I think now the guy's just a serial backstabber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yeah, we'll have to see how it ends up playing out. Of course, either way, I think I do believe that a movement has taken place here, at least to an extent. As long as we keep hammering home, the points, as long as we keep making the memes, as long as we keep fucking pointing out the bullshit, fucking, I think we're we're gonna continue going down the in the right direction. And of course, one sign that's evident of that is the ratings on the left wing establishment media. They are fucking in the trash, right? So of course we talked about the previous weeks that Comcast was moving to sell, was it ABC or MSNBC,
MSNBC.
right? So the revelation from last week is Elon Musk thinking about buying that bitch. Right. That's, as you can see, the collective response has been just about the same, respectively, on either side. Of course, Rachel Maddow broke down in tears live on air over
The
a meme.
funniest aspect of that is Joe Rogan fucking tweeting at Elon saying he's got to do it. That he'll take
Right.
Rachel Maddow's slot, wear the same outfit and glasses, and spout the same shit.
Like, yeah, dude. Like I said, it's a new era, man. Like you cannot ignore what the right hand side is doing now. Like we are the captain of the ship now. We are the
Right, but
mainstream media now.
yeah, the attacks will continue though. I mean, you've seen, there's actual state governments now that are moving their Twitter pages over to Blue Sky and shit, and like having their sports teams and so on.
Right.
They're going to keep trying.
Yeah. I don't think I think that blue sky thing is gonna be a whole nother fucking thing, like threads and all that shit. They ain't going nowhere. They ain't fucking
Right.
going
I
nowhere.
haven't been on it personally, but yeah, obviously it's Jack Dorsey shit. You know what I mean? And he is the one that created Twitter. So apparently it's like a twin as far as, the tech is concerned.
Right.
So,
The only people that are still on their side that can't handle any sort of criticism from the right are pedophiles. Allegedly, of course,
yeah.
but apparently that's a lot of what's been going on over at Blue Sky already since its inception. Is a lot of pedophilia, a lot of weird images and things of that nature. Um, yeah, I heard today fucking that instead of a tweet, they have a skeet. So
Skeet, 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 skeet.
right, right. Again, I don't see it fucking actually taking off. I don't see it actually being a threat. Yeah, I don't think these people are going anywhere. I think they're fucking they're addicted. They're
Hmm.
stuck. You know.
Yeah. The funniest ones are like old Lickman did. Like, he made this big, public post like, "I'm leaving, so I'm going to Blue Skies," and then it was literally less than 24 hours later, he's back on and shit. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Speaking of fucking Lickman, let's look him up real quick. 'Cause he's been having a fucking right meltdown.
Yeah, especially with old Jank, dude. Jank had him fucking losing his shit.
Yeah, that shit was fucking great.
Yeah. If there's anything that guy's good for, as in Jank, it's for making other people fucking shit.
Right.
Like, I can't stand the dude, but he's I guess he's a pretty good troll.
Right. So of course, Alan Lickman was doing predictions for the 2024 election. And of course, he predicted Kamala Harris is going to fucking sweep all the swing states, fucking she's going to destroy it. And of course, he was very much wrong. So let's go ahead and check out how he's been coping with that over the past couple of weeks.
To a new level. He's also brought blatant racism to a new level. Things like I'm as Greek as Giannis Antetokounmpo, the black Milwaukee Bucks basketball star who was born in Athens of African parents, is a Greek citizen and was the Greek flag bearer at the Paris Olympics. But because he's black, he couldn't possibly be really Greek. I remember Obia.
All right. So of course, everything is racist. That's the usual left hand go to.
And the keys, because the keys depend upon a rational, pragmatic electorate deciding based on governance whether the incumbent party should get 4 more years.
Right. The keys that he's fucking sniffing on.
Right. The
Also,
13 keys.
right, rely heavily on your own fucking opinion. So it doesn't fucking matter. You could insert whatever the fuck you want in the fucking Mad Lib keys, and you get whatever the fuck you want to get out of it. So it doesn't matter. Just because you fucking predicted a couple of the last fucking elections doesn't mean shit. It's just because you could lick your fucking finger and see where the wind's blowing. But at the same time, that's the power of fucking propaganda, is you have not fucking stuck your head out of the left wing bubble enough to know what's actually taking place, what the people on the streets are actually listening to and seeing. All right. Your fucking keys.
And we've seen the explosion of some trends that have existed before, but not to this extent. Disinformation. Elon Musk is, I don't know how many hundreds of billions he has. He has been the director of misinformation. 2 billion views of his spreading of disinformation, not just about the economy, but about immigrants, about minorities. We've never seen disinformation at this scale. Next, we have never seen to this scale the agitation of 3 trends that have been very deeply embedded in American history: misogyny, racism, and xenophobia. The first anti-immigrant law was 1798, and Donald Trump wants to revive it. And the keys, because the key.
Right. The comment there fits it perfectly. What happened, and they don't want
I
to
was
admit
just
it.
about
Yeah.
to say that.
They begin to believe their own gaslighting, and it's really that simple.
Yep, absolutely. Like we were saying, they've just been stuck in their own bubble. They actually believe that everybody that is not paid by the fucking United States government is a Nazi. Right? They believe that everybody that is not wearing a fucking brown shirt is a Nazi for some reason. I don't know why. It really is like that fucking what was I think it was The Whitest Kids, or one of those fucking sketch comedies where it's the dudes in the Nazi suits and they're like, wait, are we the baddies? Like, no, none of them ever fucking get that. None of them ever fucking make it to that point. So I mean, they really just are sitting there fucking farting in their own fucking bubbles and smelling their own shit and thinking everybody else fucking stinks. Like, yeah, that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. Zero. I don't even want to say self-awareness, just awareness, period. You know what I mean?
All right.
There's the
All
jank
right.
shit, dude.
Yep. 4 minutes, 13 seconds of change.
That's too long.
Yeah,
Right.
I totally agree with you. I'm sorry, but I totally disagree with Juan and Professor Lichtman. Don't blame the voters. I think, look, we could get into this discussion, but Juan, I think you're blaming the voters. I think that's a terrible idea. And look, I debated Professor Lichtman before. I told him his theories about the keys were absurd. I was right. He was wrong. I said he'd lose his keys.
No, you were
couldn't
not
find
right,
them
and
before
I
the
was
election.
not wrong, and that's a cheap shot, and I won't stand for it.
Well, who won, brother?
You should not be
Who
taking
won?
cheap
Who
shots
won?
at me.
Who
You
won?
want to make your
You
point,
live
make your
in
point.
a total
Don't make it
world of
personal.
denial.
I read your own followers' comments, and they all trashed you, every one of them, and supported me.
Yeah,
so quiet
right,
with
right.
your personal
Yeah,
attacks.
come find out again.
Make whatever
Okay.
point you want.
Yeah.
Don't
Look,
make it personal.
You don't know anything. You don't know
You
anything.
attacked me
You're
personally.
so deluded.
Oh, right. I've only
Okay.
been a professor for 51 years.
On this program,
published
I've never been
13
able
books.
to finish a
How
thought.
many books have you published? No, because you're personally
Yeah.
attacking me again. Say whatever you want, but I'm not going to
Okay,
stand
but
for
brother,
personal
you got it
attacks.
wrong.
Say
You were
whatever you want.
preposterously and stupidly wrong. So, okay, all right. Can I just
Don't
finish
call
a
me
goddamn thought
stupid.
ever on this show?
No, not if you're
Okay,
personally
well,
I
you proved
admitted
it.
I was wrong. I don't need you to call me stupid.
Okay.
Can I just say,
What
it's
kind of
great to see
nonsense
you
is that?
Democrats
Yeah, I
all
know.
getting
Who
along
taught
so
you
well.
manners?
It's lovely to see a
Can I
post-election
finish a
harmony as you all
goddamn
come
point?
together
We're
again.
just
Hey,
one
Alan,
right now.
shh. Hey, Alan, you deserve a tall glass of shut up juice. So can you just shut up for a second and let someone who knows what
Not
they're
if
doing
you're
so
gonna
right,
personally
Pierce.
attack
You're
me.
so right.
So-
We're so
Make any
unified right
point
now.
you
Okay.
want. I
So,
will not sit here and stand
so
for personal attacks, for blasphemy against me. You don't need to do that. You don't boost your
blasphemy
own ego
against you?
by
What the hell are
attacking
you?
me
Are
like
you
that.
Jesus
Just
Christ,
make
you
your points.
loser? Okay, can
Make your
I
points.
just give the correct answer for once? Okay, here we go. So, guys, you're blaming disinformation. There was disinformation. There was the cats and the dogs nonsense. The points you're making about undocumented immigrants, I agree with, Alan, okay? But that didn't cost the election. The main disinformation was about how the election was going to be rigged. And it wasn't rigged. It was dumb. They won easily. There was no need for that disinformation. You guys are missing the whole point. The people who are at fault are not other people. It is the candidate, Kamala Harris, the previous candidate, Joe Biden, Democratic Party, Democratic leadership. You guys don't want to admit that they're the problem. They're the cancer in the Democratic Party. So you blindly lash out at the voters, at information, at social media, and you want to shut down anyone who disagrees with you. That's not the correct answer. There are three wings of the Democratic Party. There's the establishment wing that the great majority, almost everyone on television supports and kisses the ass of and does propaganda for. That wing has led to disaster. They lost to Donald Trump twice, nearly lost to him 3 times. And then the other wing is called the progressive wing, but those are two different sets of people. In the progressive, so-called progressive wing, what you have is the identitarian left, the people who do what the right wing would call woke politics and identity politics, and that is
Right. So, like I said, he goes on for a little bit, but he does break it down to him. You know, he does tell him what actually took place. Right. Because of course, he's got at least one toe dipped outside of the establishment media. Of course, you know, he's being from the Young Turks. They are not necessarily, you know, your mainstream CNNs, MSNBCs, all that stuff. So, yeah, broke it down for him.
But dude, the fucking blasphemy against me. That's just too much, man.
Right.
You know, the sense of self-aggrandizement is just fucking astounding, dude. Like,
Insane.
yeah. I mean, and like you said, this dude's just, you know, famous for predicting a few fucking, you know, elections. At this point, I'd say he's statistically about tied with Sticks. So, I mean, you know, the Sticks should be on
Right.
here fucking smacking him around a piece. And you know, he
Right.
goes on, well, I've only been a professor for 51 years. That means that you've done nothing but concentrate on your area of fucking, you know, study or what have you. I mean, you know, pretty much, right?
Right.
And even the writing books, like, fuck, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, at this point, that means shit. No one reads books, son. And you can just speak into a fucking AI prompter at this point and write yourself a book in, you know, minutes. You know that. I mean, you've sent me shit where they've sent you extended replies, dude, pages long. You know what I'm saying? Like, easily.
In his entire 51 years, his biggest fucking critics have been a bunch of fucking college kids. He's basically, Charlie Kirk, but except on the opposite side, because they actually listen to this fucking idiot rather than ignoring him and talking a bunch of shit like they do to Charlie Kirk, But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's basically the same thing. That's been his entire sphere has been, college students at the point where he is at the top, and basically he just disseminates information down, and basically everybody just soaks it up because they don't know anything. They're there to learn from the dude. So basically, whatever he says is the science in
Yeah,
that
and
sphere.
even when he goes in the left wing sphere in the media, I mean, you see, they just let him babble on, dude. From previous clips. I mean, it's just like him doing a lecture every other day. He just, he just gets to sit there and babble on with his trash, and nobody calls him on it. And then, see the slightest fucking questioning, and it's to the point to where it's going to descend into name calling. And here's this blasphemous memes. You know what I mean? Like, fuck.
Right. But the one thing that I do think that really, really puts the I don't know, the fucking the cherry on top of everything. Yeah, it's not necessarily it's a bad
The
analogy, but
sissin, and they're going.
right. No, I just mean in the whole sphere of the leftist media and stuff like that, where it really kind of puts
I'm just fucking around.
puts the last nail in the coffin for it. Their fucking credibility is destroyed. Like
Yeah.
their credibility is destroyed from all the fucking conspiracy fucking hoaxes and shit that they pushed during this whole Trump era, and then even down to their polling. Fucking what was that super leftist fucking pollster that said fucking oh, Kamala's gonna win Ohio by like 13 points. That, yeah, you're never gonna fucking work again. Then nobody's ever gonna ask you to fucking take a poll for them again unless they're trying to fucking fix the results. But at the same time, people are gonna remember that. The people that actually analyze polls and shit, they're gonna remember. Oh yeah, these guys suck. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's what really happened is the leftists destroyed their credibility, and all for the sake of Orange Man bad. And yep, I don't think they get that back.
Yeah, and even like like you said, their ratings show that even with Trump coming back in and them, trying to screech about it, it's not paying off like it did previously, man. No one's listening anymore. Even to the dramas, it's just become a played out comedy, man.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Okay, speaking of fucking played out comedies, so the Tyson Paul and the Mike Tyson Paul fight, you think it was fixed or not?
Man, I have mixed thoughts on it. I don't want to be one of those guys that was, originally like I was, but he's gonna fucking bash this kid's skull to,
Right.
he's old, but at the same time, he did seem a bit winded, right? But at the
Yeah.
same time, there was so many openings where, previous versions of Tyson would have
Fucking
boom, that was the opening he needed to
muscle
start
memory,
laying it
dude.
on. Right. And and you could see he would almost react and then stop.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, why?
Right. Yep. There was also what was it? Some clauses that he wasn't allowed to throw his uppercut or his fucking overhand right or something like that.
Hmm.
Which is of course his famous fucking finishing moves.
Right.
So yeah, really it was from what people are saying about the contract to what we saw, it really was it was a show. It was WWE, but in the boxing ring. And of course there's a lot of people fucking screaming fraud, because of course I'm sure there was a lot of fucking money that was bet on that fight.
Well, I heard something where they're like suspended, like they can't. I mean, obviously Tyson's just came out to do this bullshit, so it's not really going to
Right.
affect him. But apparently, the WBF has retracted their fucking sanctioning. So
Yeah,
I doubt it'll stick because fucking Jake Paul is he rakes in the cash every
Right.
time, regardless of who he's fighting. It always makes a bunch of money. So we'll see if that sticks.
Yeah. Yeah, it really, it was kind of like a sparring match, But yeah,
Not even because you see the sparring matches Tyson were in leading up
Yeah.
to the fight that alluded to everyone what was going to happen and fucking got everybody pumped up. He was in there beating the fuck out of his fucking partner,
Yeah. Yeah, he was looking like a savage, man. And dude was fucking, he was
Right? You
fast.
got to think
Fast
like, were those
fuck,
real?
boy.
Yeah, I mean, now after that fight, dude, you're like, dude, were those old? Like, were those fucking digitally remastered. Like, what the fuck, man?
Right? They just made him is fucking from back in the day. They just made him look older.
Right. It was fucking easily sprinkled in some gray and put
Right.
that out. That's gonna get people pumped, dude. We're gonna make a ton of cash.
Right. Yeah, fucking, you also got to keep in mind, I mean, when Mike Tyson was doing those fucking crazy ass knockouts, he was in his early 20s. Like he became world
Right.
champion at 21. Like he
Right.
was a kid. Like he was pretty spry,
Of
Yeah, you
course, I
just
mean,
thinking,
like if obviously I was there watching these fights, right, when they were happening, and fucking, if you saw once Customato died, it was all downhill.
mhm,
Like, I mean, obviously, like emotionally, and him getting in trouble and shit, but boxing wise, like it was all
right.
downhill from there, man. And he still had a couple of good fights in him, but it was never the same after that.
Yeah. Yep, he admits that quite often too. Fucking on his podcast, I used to listen to his podcast quite a bit when it first started, like the first season or whatever. I was listening to that when it first came out. But yeah, he talks about when Customato died, and yeah, he said it really changed a lot for him. Thinking yeah, I mean that was kind of his anchor.
Yeah, and if you see the clips of his last like actual fight, the interview afterwards, he said, I don't have the hunger no more. Like I can't turn it on. Like it's not there.
Yeah,
I'm not that person anymore, man. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, shit, it happens. It happens. But let's see if I can what's your thoughts on Alex Jones fucking suing the Onion and the fucking Sandy Hook families?
I mean,
Yeah.
fucking hilarious. You like to see something go the man's way, dude, because he's been
Right.
fucked over now for quite an extended period. I
Yep.
mean, especially I mean, X now is kind of making up for it a little bit. You can see he's blown up because he's made started to make a transition to a new channel pretty seamlessly. But
Yeah.
I'm amazed that nobody stepped in. I
Yeah.
really am. Not only legally but financially. Like someone just come in and buy that shit. But I mean, obviously, you want to see this go through. I don't want to see no frivolous shit. I mean, like the justice system's been, made a laughing stock long enough, I think. But I'd still like to see a judgment in his favor and someone to look at that previous judgment because that is, cruel and unusual punishment. For
Yeah.
real. That is beyond an exorbitant, you know, fine amount. So,
Right. And really, yeah, that's what needs to take place is basically just everything that's all the lawfare that's taken place over the past decade or so that needs to be heavily looked into. You know,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it has made a laughing stock of the justice system. It's never in our history, at least from what I've could tell, has there been such a very very clear fucking divide of the the tiers of justice. I mean, there's not supposed to be tiers of justice. That's not supposed to be a thing, but it's been made very very apparent. Of course, with Epstein, that was kind of like one of the first straws that yeah, like, and they're definitely protecting people, and these people are pedophiles. But then on the other hand, they fucking go after Donald Trump for fucking trying to get a loan in New York City back in the fucking day. Like it's obviously if I can couple it's a two-tier justice, man. That's something that really needs to be worked on to get our like I say our credibility back to fucking stop making us be the laughing stock of the justice world. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, to talk about the real source of the destruction of the system, you'd have to go back fucking decades and decades.
Right.
But in recent times, what stepped it forward, of course, was after 9/11. You know what I mean? When they started putting in these fucking secret courts and the Patriot Act, and I
Yeah.
mean, then obviously you had whistleblowers, WikiLeaks, the whole Pizzagate, and the DNC fucking emails, and the elections being fixed and primaries. I mean, it's been going on for a minute, and all that was through fucking lawfare, and it's all been hidden, and cases have been brought, and just like with the Trump cases, right, and the Kerry Lake cases, it's just left untouched. It's fucking, dismissed on, not actual merit, just basically whether the fucking judge wants to get involved or take the case, in a lot of instances.
Yep. Yep.
Because that's corruption too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
not doing your job is
Yep.
just as
Put
corrupt
it
as
back to the
doing a
bottom of
shitty
the
job,
pile.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, they do have, a bit too much fucking leeway sometimes, like, motherfucker, you got a job to do. Go get to fucking work. Fucking hit the books, But,
Yeah.
yep. Fucking so, well, we'll see how that ends up going, if like, well, we'll see if Alex Jones ends up winning on that. But,
Even if he just got to keep fucking, his studio, man, like,
yeah.
fuck.
Right. Let him fucking keep the fucking the InfoWars, man.
Yeah, but and also Elon's in on the fucking, the lawsuit. He's got, the ex legal team in there defending,
Right.
the obviously what he says is X's property, which is, the Alex Jones image, on their InfoWars. So
Yeah. Yeah. Shit. Fuck yeah. It really is good to see just, people coming together to fucking make this shit happen. Yeah.
yeah, and it's too bad that we can't get what we really fucking need to do the shit. Like you said, Matt Gaetz would have been the optimal pick. It just scared too many people, and of course
Yeah.
they're using a fake ass fucking investigation for the distraction and destruction tool that it was originally intended to be. They're fine tuned with that shit. If you notice any fucking person on the right that comes forth, and it's like it makes them scared. They come up with immediately some type of fucking oh, someone's accusing them of sexual scandals 20 years
Right.
ago. They don't know the day, the place, fucking who was there. There's no witnesses, but it definitely happened.
Identities are hidden for protection. Yeah.
Right. Were
We
any
don't know
charges
nothing.
filed? Right. Any
Nope.
charges going to be filed? No. You know what I mean?
Ongoing
No, but
investigation.
right. It happened. Fuck out of here, man.
Yep. Fucking another thing I forgot to write down, man, but Dan Bongino for Secret Service fucking director. Right, what do you think?
I mean, obviously, that would be, good with his experience and whatnot, and the mind that he has, pretty intelligent guy. But it would be hard for me to imagine that. I mean, like he said, that he would have to give it serious consideration if his country and president called. But man, the dude's making cash. He's the biggest fucking live stream in the world now, man. Like it'd
Right.
be so hard to walk away from the shit that he just spent years building for
Yep.
just to spend a few years in Washington because the next time there's a Democratic president, fucking he's gone, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. But Donald Trump did say that he would like Dan Bongino to be the head of his Secret Service. So
Yeah, I mean, the good news keeps coming along with the mediocre and bad. They're just like I don't know if you've seen today. Was it Atlanta? They're announcing that they're dropping the Supreme Court. There is going to drop the charges in Fulton County. So
nice.
it's going to be pretty much a full dismissal across the board. But
Right.
so far some of them are without prejudice, which means they can bring it back up when he leaves office.
Right.
Which is kind of fucked. That's where you got the old corrupt merchant coming in. But other than that,
Yep.
it's been quite a bit of good news, or at least good direction.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, fucking yeah. Of course, like you were just mentioned, fucking Mershon is basically suspended the case indefinitely. Or did he dismiss it, or is it
It's
still just
dismissed without prejudice.
okay? Yeah.
That's the Chutkin. That's the Chutkin, and then the sentencing for Merchant. He it's
It's just
delayed
suspended indefinitely, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So essentially, as everybody predicted, everybody fucking knew this political lawfare was going to come to nothing, right? Absolutely nothing. And as you said, it's without prejudice, so they still could bring it up later. But we'll
when
see
he's
how
82 years old.
right. But I mean, we'll see how it goes. Maybe by that time, a special counsel will rule that maybe he's an old man with a bad memory, not fit to stand trial. Seems to be the norm. I mean, there's precedent for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or with like Hillary's case, right? No jury would convict.
Right.
No
Yep.
jury in their right mind would convict.
Yep. And fucking, I don't know, man. Like I said,
Is that a threat?
depending on yeah, but like I said, depending on how much he's able to change things around, because like we mentioned before, he's a fucking bull in a china shop right now. He has nothing holding him back. He has nothing to fucking lose.
Right.
after everything that he's fucking been through, being fucking shot, being, ran through the fucking media, being ran through the fucking courts, everything. At this point, you really think that he's gonna go in there and just fucking, we'll just play it nice. We're gonna, maybe we'll reform a little bit here. And like, no, dude, he's gonna go in there and he's gonna fucking wreck everything, dude, and it's gonna be glorious.
Yeah. He's already got shit changing. He already got, EU representatives saying that they want to be supplied with fucking American energy. You got, Mexico coming to the table, Canada coming to the table. I mean, I haven't heard shit about China yet, but, then you even got Putin out here. I think Trump can bring peace. He's not safe. He needs to be protected. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the shit. And then even with the whole ceasefire thing, I don't know if you've seen, but, Israeli representatives were like, we're doing this as a gift to President Trump. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? That even though Biden's out here trying to take credit, they spoke for themselves, and it had absolutely nothing to do with fucking the carcass in chief, man.
Well,
The Trojan carcass.
we'll go ahead and use that to transition to our next subject, which is World War III looming. The Biden administration with their foot on the accelerator as quickly as they can. So, of course, as you mentioned, Putin has said that it seems like Donald Trump could bring peace to this, to the world. The Middle East has basically started a ceasefire, for Donald Trump essentially. Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, but at the same time, we also have the Biden administration pushing, full steam ahead, trying to get Russia to do whatever they can to get Russia to attack and basically to antagonize Russia as much as they can by, doing things like approving U.S. missiles, long range missiles, to be used to strike into Russia itself. Of course, that is, definitely not going to be taken lightly by Putin. And at the same time, there has to be some sort of line. There has to be some sort of line of no return. And I'm pretty sure the Biden administration is trying to get past that point. I'm pretty sure if you were to fucking send, a long range fucking missile right into the middle of Moscow, there's no way that Putin cannot respond. The people would not he would not have control over the people no more if he just let a foreign adversary strike right into the middle of their capital. Like, you can't fucking do that. You have to return. You have to strike back. So yeah, fucking that's what the Biden administration seems like they're doing.
It's even worse because then word on the street per several articles today floating around the interzones. The current Blinken State Department's floating the idea of returning nukes to Ukraine, obviously because of the original agreements that they disarmed for, with the plan of us doing what we're currently doing, which is fucking murdering our economy to fucking feed them. That's even worse. I mean, just the idea of that obviously is going to be a major ordeal. And then another thing that I heard was or read this afternoon was the Trump team floating the idea of putting troops in a demilitarized fucking Ukraine, like Korea, like a Korea situation where you're going to have a fucking DMZ, or we're going to be there to keep the peace or some shit. I mean, that's definitely not what I want. I obviously
Right.
don't know for sure if that's floated by the Trump team, but I would rather us disengage. I mean, it's cool to be there as a middleman, negotiate, try to bring peace. Of course, that's what you want to see. But at the same time, I just want to see us, disengage from the situation and quit trying to put on pressure. But you have actors over again in the EU and the UN that are also doing backdoor deals to try to keep that shit going. I mean, you got even
Right.
Boris Johnson's douchebag ass, who people at one time touted was the English Trump, out here. Again, like, Republicans have a fatal romanticizing relationship with Putin. And again, we should push for fucking war. So, Trump's going to have his work cut out. I don't know if it'll be as easy as he originally thought, but with both parties basically hinting to the fact that, Trump could probably bring peace. But like you said, the Biden admin's not only pushing for escalation, but they're even, like the ghouls they are, trying to goad Ukraine into drafting younger kids, man. Like right now, their draft age starts at 25. They're trying to push them to lower it to 18.
Yeah.
Which even here, I've always said that's fucking terrible, barbaric shit, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fucking disgusting. And
Yeah.
again, none of this is for anything. Fucking Ukraine has no fucking chance. Ukraine has no chance of winning as they keep trying to say that they're gonna do. They're over here trying to tout like, oh, fucking, it was only supposed to last 3 days. It has been 3 years. Like, no thanks to you, motherfuckers. Like, I mean, yeah, you people are the people that are being slaughtered, but you guys had nothing ready. You guys were fucked. You guys were sitting there with your fucking ass cheeks hanging out, and the United States came and covered your fucking ass. Like, that's the only reason that you guys have made it this long, you know. And
Yeah, and how the left just easily switches. They're worried about lives, but really not, because now, of course, it's been the Palestinian thing for an extended period. Remember before that, with all the Ukraine flags, way more have been killed in that fucking in that conflict than the Gaza shit. But yet they keep droning on about that, like today interrupting or yesterday the Macy's fucking parade. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
yep, the fucking the uh the fucking I support the current thing NPC meme is far too real these days. Like, it's not even funny no more. It's just like, that's the left, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is, like, if you look at it from like a big picture perspective of the left, dude, like, they're they're fucking brainwashed. Like, they're the definition of what brainwashed looks like, you know. Like, you literally, you point, you fucking, you get them riled up a little bit, and you point them in that direction, and you tell them what to chant, and they literally do, like mindless fucking zombies just walk around chanting whatever anybody tells them to chant. Like, they don't even know what the fuck they're saying half the time. They're just
Right.
they're fucking brain dead zombies, dude. Like, it's really kind of nuts to see, you know.
Yeah, like of course, the man on the street things are hilarious when you get like the Alex Stein style, where they'll walk right up into protests and
Right.
try to talk to the people chanting, and you get the chick, she's screaming fascist, fascist, and he asked her about it. She's like, well, I really don't know what that means, but it tends to fire
Right.
people up, so we use it a lot, and you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, fuck, man.
Right. Yeah, it's actually a tactic of fascism.
Right.
Right. Oh man, we've always been at war with Oceania, though. Yeah, fucking
You're
insane.
raging, man. You're raging.
But I don't know, man. I mean, Donald Trump, I think he's enough of a fucking wild card. I do think that he can just fucking come in and, all right, that's it. We're done. Everybody's done. You're stopping. You're stopping. You go sit down over there, okay? Hamas, I'm talking to you right now. Go sit down. Go. I really do think that Donald Trump is the type of dude that, yeah, I mean, of course, that's obviously metaphorical, but either way, that's pretty much what Donald Trump brings to the table, in terms of geopolitical negotiations.
Yeah, the dude's definitely got fucking massive scrot, man. I said that before. That should have been his VP pick. And even in the previous fucking ad man, you see him when he met with Putin. He's shaking his hand. He's, Putin obviously, the ex head of the KGB could fucking, assassinate the man with a quickness, right? I mean, he did that for most of his fucking early life. But yet Trump's jerking him around because he's so much larger, like cracking little
Right.
man. Like, you know what I mean? Just put out the dominance immediately, dog. That's old Trumpsicles for sure, dude. And like I said, I agree. I think he could get the situation taken care of. I just think that there's so many other parts in play that it may not be that whole first 24-hour thing that he likes to predict, or gloat at, whatever.
Well, I think the biggest factor in every single part that is in play within all of these conflicts around the world right now is the corruption of the United States government. I think that is the heart and soul of all of these conflicts. And I think if Donald Trump can go in and basically show and put in concrete, the changes that we're making to ensure that our government does not become like this, I think that that's really what's going to solve a lot of the issues. I think that's what's going to restore, faith, or that's what's going to give people, faith in the new United States, but of course, like I say, it has to be stuff that's going to be really concrete. Of course, Donald Trump as a symbol being elected to the United States presidency again really is kind of a symbol that maybe it's not as corrupt as we portrayed it, but at the same time, the only reason for that is because Donald Trump won so handily. I'm sure there was still plenty of fucking corruption and shit like that within our election, just too big to rig, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's why California's still counting right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 20,
Right.
some fucking 20 days later, they're still fucking counting, dude.
Right.
And like you've seen them steal. I know at least one seat where the Republican chick that was running, she was up like over 10,000 votes at election night, and they just kept counting until fucking like the other, the Democrat was winning by 5 votes. Like, oh, there it is, it's over.
Right.
We call it.
Yeah.
So and they're not even like waiting till the complete count. They've been counting this long, but yet they're like calling fucking different ones like as they basically want to.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't that one like either way, fucking it wasn't like fucking Ting Li versus Ching Wong or something like that. Like it wasn't, it doesn't fucking matter. They're both fucking Chinese communist operatives anyway. Like I'm just kidding. I don't
Well,
actually
I
know.
mean, right. I mean, the one chick, I guess, she's has a pretty conservative record. So
Fucking skull cracker
like,
and shit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
you talking about Lily Tang, dude? Is that the one you're talking about? That was like in Massachusetts or Connecticut or something, man. But she actually lost.
Yeah. I saw a headlines or a fucking YouTube fucking news thing just recently about a California representative that basically just conceded to the Democrat representative.
Right,
Yeah, but
dude. I can't
both of them were
imagine like
Chinese as fuck though.
right. You don't want to carry on the whole fucking election bullshit ruckus, right? But
Yeah,
at the same time, think about how hard it would be to concede when you've watched them do that. I mean, they're stealing fucking house seats, is what they're doing, dude. I mean,
right,
they steal it with their census, number one, and then they steal it again by counting fucking votes 20 days later.
right. Yep.
I've
So
seen it a million times.
fucking, it's the norm. The only reason I'm doing it because I'm trying to bring awareness to the situation.
Right.
It's-
It's almost all Democrat-led states, though, right? Right. I mean, whether it be the
yep.
governor or the state legislature, man.
Yep. Fucking corruption's all around, man. So that's what something we've talked about quite often is fucking draining the swamp and exposing all the fucking creatures that hide beneath. I think that's the best fucking way that you're gonna fix this country. In terms of geopolitics, again, it doesn't matter. Fucking Donald Trump's gonna be in there for 4 years, and then 4 years later they get to go back to fucking their power grabs and fucking whatever the fuck they were doing. Um, so that's why I think Donald Trump needs to do something that's going to show them concrete that fucking the the adults are back in charge in America, and it's going to stay that way.
What sucks is though is you got to get people more involved, like I just said, like state legislature wise, man, because
Right,
like people vote federally, like they're voting locally, and then they don't pay attention to the local elections. I mean, you see like on an off year, and it's like a midterm, and the vote count is ridiculous. They'd be like, oh, this person got 10,000 votes to 8,500. It's like, dude, what the fuck? There's a 500,000 people, within a 30-mile radius of me. What the fuck is going on? Like, what are you people doing?
right,
And so obviously without the right representation locally, it can cause major issues, especially, you see, like you were speaking on earlier with local reps saying that they're going to fight, deportation orders and resist and shit like that, and so if you're not voting the right people in office locally, it's going to fuck everything up, man.
all right. Well, actually, let's go ahead and talk about that. So we got fucking caravans of fucking illegals rushing the borders right now. And of course, we have the Democrat states saying that they are not going to cooperate with federal deportations. So we got us a bit of a quandary on our hands here. Not necessarily because, of course, Donald Trump's going to put a stop to that almost immediately, but nonetheless, we got Democrat states basically saying that we are not going to comply. We are going to keep our illegal immigrants here, so that way we could get the congressional seats, right? So
They're not saying the congressional seats, though. They're not saying
right.
that.
Yeah, they're definitely not saying that. Right, we need these seats. No, you cannot take our immigrants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
of
But
course they talk about the economy, the local economy. That's always the one that they like to fucking harp on. Deporting these people is going to destroy our shit. What do you mean? That's going to fucking increase the value of local labor, and it might actually entice people that currently may not be participating or up until fucking standards to actually increase their fucking their output, dude. You know what I mean? You'd be amazed what fucking how money increases morale, and morale tends to increase production. I mean, that's my own experience in life.
it's almost
You
like
know,
they don't care about the average worker. They
right?
only seem to care about profits for the large donors. Hmm.
And getting federal funds.
Right. Hmm. That's
Right.
not the Democrat Party I know. They wouldn't want to import cheap laborers to pick the fruits and work the fields. That sounds like slavery.
Racism.
But nonetheless, that is the reality of what's actually taking place. And like I said, I don't think it's actually gonna fucking fly. I think Donald Trump's gonna put a stop to it almost immediately. And at the same time, a lot of the local sheriffs, the local law enforcements, are often a little bit more conservative leaning than their Democrat uh, legislatures, the Democrat lawmakers. And at the same time, lawmakers and law enforcement is two separate branches of they're run by two separate branches of government. So basically, it's up to the sheriffs, really. So I mean, we'll see how it ends up going. How they end up playing it out. But I do think Donald Trump's going to be able to put a put a damper on their parade pretty quickly.
Yeah, even with the caravans, like I said, he's already talked to the Mexican president apparently, and she's already coalescing with the fact that Mexico has to stop them coming to fucking our border through them, and apparently she's acquiescing, at least to an extent. So we'll find out. The last time I heard, the caravan was up to like 1,800. And that's some shit you can't allow happen. Like you remember, previous videos during the Biden administration when they were rushing through, rushing
Right.
the border agents and whatnot. And you think like, oh well, they probably went to jail, or no, they didn't. They got took into a building and processed and fucking set free into the country. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so you can't let this shit happen. And obviously, Mexico is a massive culprit in the situation for the fact that the most, largest portion of these caravans don't come from Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is it's not only the United States that has an open border. Mexico has an open border as well. And that's intentional. That's because the cartels are trafficking these people through Mexico up to our United States border, and they're making lots of money off of it. And of course, the cartels fucking run everything in Mexico, even the fucking government, right? The government fucking works for the damn cartels. That's the whole reason that they don't want us to have a war on drugs. That's the whole reason that they don't want us to come in and designate the cartels as terrorist organizations, even though they are actively killing millions of American citizens. I don't know, millions, but hundreds of
Hundreds of
thousands.
thousands.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of American citizens every year with the drugs that they're importing, the illicit, illegal, deadly drugs that they're importing, right? And now they're working with our foreign adversaries, China, to get these, components to make
The
fentanyl,
precursors, yeah.
right? Which is drastically destroying our country. And this, again, they are working with a foreign adversary in order to attack our country from the inside. That is terrorism. That's actively trying to attack the United States. So basically, they
It,
haven't. Oh,
you
go
got
ahead.
to add the caveat there that most people will be like, oh well, drug users, yada yada. You know what I mean? Those are adults like killing themselves. The biggest killer, or the biggest victim of this situation is people 25 and under.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Yep. People don't know what the fuck they're taking. It's especially with, everyone's always like, oh, like, why would somebody lace something with something else? Like fentanyl is cheap as fuck. Like fentanyl is not some fucking designer drug. Fentanyl is fucking for poor people. Fentanyl is fucking cheap as fuck. At least
like
from,
synthetic shit. It's not even
yeah,
real opiates. It's fucking synthetic.
right. They don't have to fucking have fields. There's no process to it. It's literally China sends over bulk Mexico sends it over to the United States. The cartel send it over to the United States. That's literally the process of getting fentanyl here. So that shit is extremely fucking cheap, especially when you couple the fact that we have a wide open border right now, thanks to the Biden-Harris administration. But yeah, so I mean, there's that, and then like I said, Mexico has an open border too. All these people are coming from all over the country up through Mexico. So Mexico is allowing these people to come in. If Mexico were to just stop it before they even get into their country, there wouldn't be a problem. The thing is, though, they're letting them into their country, and now they have thousands of foreign people from other countries in their country on their way to the United States, and the United States is fitting to stop them at the border. So in which case, these people are stuck in Mexico, and Mexico is not happy about that. And close your fucking border. Don't let them in the first place. You allowed them into your fucking country. We're not going to allow them into our country. That's on you. Like, you let them in, you figure out what to fucking do with them. We're not letting them in though. Like, that's obviously causing a bit of a problem. You know, like I say, we want to shut down their fucking cartels, which again run and fucking bribe and have all of the fucking, you know, government officials in their pockets. And then we also want to shut down the illegal immigration, which again run through the cartels. So that's the big issue that we have going on with Mexico right now.
Yeah, and again, that'll be looked at, it's fascism. He's attacking, an allied country, or, a neighboring country. And, again, it's the whole fucking, moral fucking flexibility thing there, where they're worried about people dying 10,000 miles away, but Mexico can't even function correctly. Obviously this president's not on the level, because leading up to the election where she took power, if you remember, over 300 people that were running for office were murdered that year. You know what I mean? Like assassinated by cartels and shit. So, I mean, they can't even have a fucking normal government. If you want to feel for a people, I mean, that's oppression. I mean, Mexico, if anyone's been there, it should be an extremely wealthy country, right? I mean,
Right.
gorgeous, lots of growing space. I mean, the
Like,
resources, yada yada. It's on the
right
ocean.
there in the tropic. Fucking,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and these people keep the vast majority of the population in fucking dirt floor hovels,
Mhm.
so they can absorb all the fucking money and nothing ever progresses. I mean, you talk about, like socialism and communism kills innovation. Fuck, so does cartel oppression.
Right. Yep. And so again, that's the whole thing with these, quote unquote poor countries, right? And that's what a lot of these, climate activists would like us to do. They want to take all the money from rich countries and send them over to poor countries, so that way they could have infrastructure and power and running water and all this and that type of shit. The problem is they could have that already if it wasn't for the fact that the money always goes straight to the fucking top, right? Again, what is foreign aid? It's taking money from the poor people of a rich nation and giving it to the rich people of a poor nation, right? And that's basically what takes place in all these third world countries all the time. And that's why it doesn't matter how much we send over there. It's just going to go to the fucking warlords anyway. The cartels, the fucking, the people that run the illegal fucking muscle in those places. So, yeah, really it's a matter of getting rid of the virus that's causing the problem.
Yeah, like a good example is one of Rand Paul's Festivus rants. When one of his one of his prime ones was $1 billion to this African nation in aid, and the only thing that came of it was like a lean-to of a so-called community center with a pretty nice basketball court, but that was it. $1 billion, and
Right.
of course, that went to the coffers of the local leaders, and you see the repercussions. They roll around in fucking convertible, luxury cars, and with kids AKs guarding them and shit. That's where your money went.
Yep. Yep. But at least it makes you feel better, right? Makes you feel good inside. Just don't
Yeah.
think of this. Don't think of the second part. Just think of the giving money to third world countries. That's makes you feel good, right?
Yeah, I had a socialist dude try to do some debating with me on fucking Instagram, and I was talking about foreign aid, and he said, "You don't want to cut off the only good thing America does." Like, dude, fuck,
Right.
man.
What, money laundering?
Right. And then not to mention, what do you think we get in return? Most of the time that shit's given out in some way, shape, or form. It's a loan. You know what I mean? And even
Right.
if they say, they qualify for the low interest portion of the loan, as in, third world status, like we end up fucking moving in, they end up defaulting, and we go take over, one of their resources and say, well, we'll mine this or pump this oil or whatever for so many years, and that'll pay us back. In reality, we're taking advantage. We end up fucking coming up, billions and billions of dollars off of it.
Yep. That's the way that we work, man. That's how we roll.
Yep. Confessions of an Economic Hitman breaks it down for you, man,
Yeah.
in detail.
Should have to pick that one up, actually.
I have it, dude. You
Yeah.
fucking swoop it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But all right, fucking what do we got? You want to talk about the secession problem that Donald Trump's inherited? Right. So of course this is for a good laugh, right?
Yeah, you got to put it out there. It's not the ones you've heard about. It's not the ones you think.
Right.
It's not extremesy right wings.
Right. It's New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Connecticut. Right. No, pretty much the New England states. Right. They've decided that they don't want to be part of Donald Trump's America. Yeah. And they've decided that they would like to be part of Canada. I was reading that article that you're saying, man. It was funny. Someone was like, all right, fuck it. You get those states, we get Alberta. Fair trade, man. Fair trade.
Right.
Yep.
Rather get Toronto, man. It's fucking party town.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, nothing's gonna happen. It's just fucking left wing fucking cope. But
even other Democrats are roasting these people, man.
Right. But let's think of how that would look. Right. Right. So the United States government wouldn't let that happen. we've killed our own for less. Yeah, we're not gonna let that happen. We'll go fucking start bombing Canada if they try to fucking take you in. Like that's, and it's not that we love fucking New York and Connecticut and Massachusetts and Vermont so much that we'd fucking fight Canada over it. It's just, bitch, you ain't going nowhere. Like we own you. Like no, we fucking own you. Like you ain't taking your fucking economy nowhere. Like you're ours. That's basically about the gist of it. So yeah, there's nobody seceding. Perhaps some states may reform. There's lots of talk about like Greater Idaho, stuff like that. What is it? The majority of California is trying to fucking abandon San Francisco and Los Angeles. Right. And start their own state, basically a new California. Yeah, so that could be a possibility, right? If that helps us to get rid of the idea of secession and states breaking up and basically the union falling apart, I'm pretty sure that the federal government would say fuck it, go for it, but I don't see them fucking taking off and going to Canada. I definitely don't see any other regions also breaking off and starting to try to form their own governments, even though we do see the Democrats right now trying to create their own shadow government for whatever fucking reason. They're playing fantasy football with the presidency position right now, and this is who we would pick if we had to pick an attorney general. So we're gonna put you over there, and we'll just don't worry about it. We're not doing anything. We're just pretending over here, like Dungeons Dragons. Right. Don't worry about it. Like, so I mean, there's again, the left is crazy, so it's not beyond the realm of possibility that they would try something like that. But it's the United States government's not going to let that happen.
Absolutely not, man. And it's laughable anyway, especially, it's like a coastal fucking area. I mean, something that's, heavily relied on as far as ports are concerned and, trade and shit, right? I mean, New York, especially, right? But, laughable shit. And then what, you're going to join Canada? Like, I mean, you think things are fucked up in New York now? Like, Canada's one big New York. They've
Right.
already fucked our economy as well. It's thousands of dollars a month to live in a fucking closet. People, struggling just as well. Can't afford to, heat their house for the winter or feed themselves. I mean, if you pay attention to, Canadian politics, it's a constant fucking shit show. And and then not to mention like the revenue is going to fucking plummet, dude. You're not part of the United States. You're not part of the fucking economic leviathan. You know what I mean? You're part of Canada. I mean, you see the drastic drop off in GDP, like where we're 24 million, but China is like fucking what 19, and then it drops down to like 4 trillion with Germany and Japan. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like they're not even, Canada's not even fucking in the top 5. So, and you see the drastic difference. I mean, what would you actually be seceding to? The fucking forest? I mean,
Right.
so it's just a laughable thing. And like you said, it's just fucking copium and ways for them to re-out and just try to live their fucking most outlandish fucking bullshit schemes. And,
Yep.
if it's not, Trump's Hattlers, he's going to take people's cars. Women can't drive no more. Whatever the case is, or we're moving to
Might not be a bad
Canada's.
thing.
Yeah, it's just all whimsical fucking theater, man.
Right. Yeah, fucking it really is. It does. I mean, like just from a human perspective, it's sad. It's sad just like seeing how. I mean, like again, not trying to be like a dick and fucking dunk on the lefties, but just see how dumb they are. Like actually
Mhm.
dumb. Like it's like
You,
it's like
you,
it's like, dude, I'm doing too many fucking drugs here in fucking in Florida. I got to get away from this stuff. I'm gonna go move to fucking Los Angeles. Like, the fuck, dude? You're not changing a fucking thing, dude. Like,
Yeah,
you're not
if
doing
anything, it
anything.
may be worse, man.
Right, right. It's probably gonna be worse, dude. Like, yeah, it's just they're dumb. They're fucking dumb, dude. Like, it's sad. You know?
Absolutely, and you don't want to play out the term because it's been used quite a bit since the C1984 times. But mass psychosis, it's
Mhm.
just like it's mass, but it's because it's in the millions. Obviously, with the vote totals in a lot of areas, but it really is. It's like
Yep.
mass psychosis, and like you said, it shifts easily. You
Yeah.
have to have some type of mind virus to be able to shift your full focus at the whim.
Right.
Now you're mad at this person. Now you're mad at this. Now you're
Do
afraid
you,
of this. No,
do you think anybody's actually in control of the leftist mob? Do you think anybody
no.
actually like, all right, so
I think
we have to stir them up about this now, or do you think they're just a mindless fucking horde?
I think it's just mass spitballing, and like I said, they just spit out the most whimsical shit that they can possibly imagine, and then when one sticks, they all fucking run with it. I mean, you go
Right.
on like fucking Reddit or some shit like that, and you see some ludicrous stuff be posted, and the next thing you know, they're repeating it on fucking Rachel Maddow show or
That's why they don't
Joy
have
Reid or
anything.
whatever.
That's why they don't have anything beyond sloganeering. Like that's why you see the man on the street interviews, and you'll see these people fucking free, free Palestine from the river to the sea. Like, all right,
Yeah.
what river, what sea? Like, I don't
The
actually
sticks.
know, but like, I'm just here to show my support. Like, they're a mindless fucking horde, and it really is. Like you
Absolutely.
said, somebody will metaphorically throw a fucking chair, and then the shit hits the fan. It's just fucking finding the right chair that's gonna set them off just right.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking crazy shit that we're living through right now, man. But it, it's shit. Yeah. Sometimes you just
Yeah.
gotta fucking put your foot down. You can't. I mean, you want to fucking like, oh no, America. We're not about fucking policing ideas or anything like that. But it's like, dude, like at some point you have to fucking you can't just fucking coddle people. You can't fucking just like, oh, everything's okay. It's just they're protesting. It's they're protesting and shit like that. It's like you like I mean, at a certain point,
I mean that's what the left wants for the West. You know what I mean? I'm not even saying Democrats. It's leftists across the West. I mean, like you see, like a video I shared on X recently, dude. Like, well, it went pretty viral, and it was some UK police, and they're hassling this woman because of her language after being attacked by some fucking immigrant. And she said filthy immigrant, and of course they're fucking with her rather than trying to deal with the crime. I
you're
mean,
right,
and that's and you're seeing the end game over there. As far as that's concerned, most of Europe's fucking fallen. It's lost, dude. Like
right,
especially the UK, prime example,
yeah,
and
they're
Scotland and Ireland are
bad.
right behind them. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, didn't they fucking like arrest some dude for fucking burning a Quran or some shit like that?
That and also I mean, they arrest people just like they're starting to do here with the old Face Act just for praying. Like,
Right.
that's offensive. You're getting like, what does fucking being offensive have to do with anything, dude? Even if it was, leave me the fuck alone, son.
Right. Go
You know?
fuck off, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting insane, but at the same time, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing again and again with expecting a different result. So I mean, hopefully we have enough fucking evidence that we could just continue to fucking communism's never going to work. It's failed this many times already. Like fucking. Hopefully we will, with the information age that we're living in currently. Hopefully we have enough data to be able to concretely prove, over time that the left is fucking idiots. Like, I mean, shit, we got brain scan data at this point, like to prove that the left are fucking idiots.
They surely consume the vast majority of, antidepressants and other brain clouding fucking, prescription substances, dude.
Right.
I mean, and I know people will point out that, well, you guys are on here smoking is, I mean, yeah, it's vastly different. It's not even well, mine's differences. I mean, it really is different. I mean, we're talking
Yeah.
fucking, a natural fucking plant versus, some chemicals that, if you just hear the side effects should scare you away from even considering putting that shit in you, dude.
Right. Yeah. Fucking at the same time, motherfucker, we worked all day. How'd your ass do? What'd you do before you went to the club to pop some mollies? Yeah, fucking.
Not me,
Yeah.
dude. My company's the shit. 5-day weekend. 5-day weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, fuck yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Just about brain cell killing time, guys.
But yep, you see fucking like you said earlier with the Trudeau, you see what a pudding cup that guy is, right? His rainbow socks, his chick leaving him because obvious reasons, and
His Taylor
Trump
Swift
lays it out
dance.
there. Yeah, and the whole time he's been we've got to resist the Trumps is, and as soon as Trump comes out like I'm putting these fucking tariffs on the trifecta there, where's
Right.
Trudeau at? He's currently
He's
at
at
Mar-a-Lago.
Mara fucking Lago.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that really, I mean, that's what the left is, though. Like we've said it, many times before. All they do is they fucking lick their finger and where can I get fucking more support? And that's the whole thing. That's why they always talk about democracy. Like democracy is bad, you guys. Democracy is not a fucking good thing.
Yeah. Not a single time in the Federalist Papers or in the fucking the founding documents is democracy mentioned.
Right, and that's why when you think about democracy, just think the word mob rule. And that's why you see them constantly just gather up into groups. And like we were saying, you get someone to throw the right fucking metaphorical chair out there and everybody starts chanting because what they think, because the fact that they believe in democracy is that whoever's loudest, that's who's right. Whoever could get the most fucking people and to scream the loudest, that's who's right. It's really kind of the same thing about how you fucking decide, well, what's our mascot got to be at pep assemblies and shit back in high school. Like whoever makes the most noise for this one, that's who's it's gonna be. Like that's
go ahead.
That's the way they think that the rest of the world actually works.
Right. And even Socrates, right, who's credited as being, the father of modern democracy, didn't actually believe in democracy. He thought that voting was a learned skill and that you had to earn that fucking, that privilege to be able to vote. It wasn't like a true, like, a mob of the people, the majority wins. It was the majority of the educated fucking wins.
Right. And again, the whole idea of a republic just adds an extra layer on top of that. It's not just only the educated people are allowed to make decisions. It's only the educated people are allowed to pick an educated person to make educated decisions for us. Like it breaks it down even farther. It puts an extra fucking protective layer between the mob and the policy.
Yeah, that's exactly what a republic is designed to do, is to protect the minority from the majority.
Yep.
Hence the reason of the electoral college that they abhor so badly.
All right. Donald Trump made it too big to rig this time. He took everything. Took everything. Took the fucking Senate, the House, the Electoral College, the fucking popular vote. Took fucking
Right, but even that now, you see
dignity and
now,
pride.
yeah, that's the newest copium is, it wasn't really a mandate, you know what I mean? He didn't get 50%. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, of course there's other fucking people that got votes regardless. Even RFK got votes with him being on the fucking Trump, team. And then you had Joe Stein, you had Cornel West, fucking, you know what I mean? And you've even heard people that wrote in fucking nonsensical shit, like,
Right.
publicly stating so.
Meanwhile, fucking Hillary Clinton got 48.2% or something like that of the total popular vote. Oh, but she won the popular vote back in 2016. Like, oh, she won the popular vote. The Electoral College stole it from her. Like, but then again, when it's on the other foot, like, oh, he was actually 49.9. He didn't win the popular vote. You need 50%. Like, dude, fuck off. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I mean, dude, even the filibuster, it's the same thing. When fucking, Camel was running on the fact that she wants to do away with the filibuster so she can get the agenda pushed forth for women's rights, whoop de woo. But then now that fucking Trump won and they're interviewing these Democrats and asking them, do you still want to do away with the filibuster? They're like, no, it's an institutional tool. And you know what I mean? Of course, right? And now it's back to decorum. It's, again, going along with what I was saying with the current fucking paradigm of, it wasn't really a mandate. Is now you're having representatives coming out like, he didn't win a real majority. So people actually chose that they want us to work together. You know what I mean? Of course, it's back to fucking decorum because Trump's in office. But the whole time it's been cutthroat fucking mobster style fucking governance.
see fucking targeting is trending. Oh man, never mind. It's just a bunch of sports ball stuff. I was trying to check the trends real quick. Man, there's really not been much going on over the last week or two, man. It's been I mean, other than like the subtle policy stuff here, the stuff in Ukraine, but in terms of like major political events, hasn't been too much going on lately.
I mean, right now's the fucking, the hush before the storm. They're kind of regrouping, trying to decide on what they're going to do. I mean, you see now they're already starting to push. They're trying to float AOC for 2028, man. Fucking laughable shit. Let's elect one of the two fucking dumbest members of Congress to the highest office in the land, dude. Of course,
Right.
they, again, that they lack that awareness skill. Like they just can't reconcile why they lost the way they just did. Instead, they're going to fucking double and triple down.
Yeah, fucking AOC has no chance, man. Maybe
Dude,
she does have a chance,
right. I know a lot of people that have just randomly said that before this shit even started getting floated. They're like, she's going to be president, dude.
Right.
And they're not for her or nothing like that. You know what I mean? It's not like an emotional, like, that's my president. These are people that are totally opposed to her. Like, she's going to be
Yeah.
president, dude.
Yep. Not if we could help it. If they can, like I said, I mean, she could definitely be president if it's still less than fucking 10% of fucking her district comes out to vote, or less than 10% of the people come out to vote, or if 150% of the people come out to vote, however that fucking works.
Right.
There's definitely a chance, but of course, that's all the stuff that we need to fix. Like that's like I say, transparency, the economy, geopolitical stuff, and fucking our elections. That's the shit that we need to get taken care of in order for us to be able to be stable again. Otherwise, we're just going to go back to the same old, same old. The only difference is now people that whole once you see it, you can't unsee it type thing. It's going to be kind of like that.
Right. Yeah, I
And
mean, you hope because you got
further
some people that
instability.
you like again, the old cognitive dissonance. You can just show them shit, and they refuse to accept it, acknowledge it, read it, anything like that, you know.
Ship them off to Canada.
Right, and then you have groups of people that, of course, are into the identity politics thing, and then you still have the squishy fucking on the fences or the centrists that are easily goaded with the misogyny and racist fucking labels, And again, the whole wrapped up in the identity thing, we got to get it out of our fucking lexicon that there has to be a female president. I'm not saying
Right.
that, well, I won't even lie. I'll say there shouldn't be. How about that? You know what I'm saying? But I'm not
Yeah.
even saying that there won't be, or that, that there isn't someone that, is possibly capable, what have you, right? But, you know, it doesn't have to be. It should be based off of fucking capabilities and fucking merit, man. I mean,
Right.
not, well, she's got a vagina and she'll call you racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, there definitely there could be a possibility, down the road. But like I say, in terms of reality and how people and how countries interact with each other, I really just don't see uh like I say a woman in charge of the world. I think it's
Right.
kind of a stretch. Maybe if we get back to more of like a multipolar world, then maybe fuck it, we'll have a fucking things are at peace. Fuck it, we'll have a fucking woman over here fucking doing parades and making national holidays and shit like that. Like once we get to a point where we get rid of the fucking military industrial complex, basically just the endless wars that the warmongers in DC seem to want. Once we get rid of all that type of shit and we're finally at a place where we're able to negotiate and trade and have peace on earth and all that shit, we'll let you fucking steer for a second. You could hold the wheel. All right. And that's about how far we'll let you go.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, it's about like respect. There's a lot of countries that we, do regular dealings with, whether that be, through, the passive aggressive fucking threats, business, what have you. They don't even, respect women. They look at women like second class citizens, shit like that. You're not going to gain the respect or be able to negotiate the deals that need to be done regardless of competence. And I'm surely not saying that a woman isn't as competent or is lacking intelligence or anything like that. Not even remotely the case. But also a detriment that we know scientifically is women tend to function more on emotion over logic. Right,
Right.
men vice versa. Not that men can't be emotional, right? But it's just not your normal fucking function.
They
And
tend to have a skewed view of what's fair as well, too.
yeah, yeah, but even that emotion tends to lead to softness that leads to shit like, women judges letting fucking obvious repeat offenders out of jail because, they feel bad. Well, they had bad childhoods and,
Right.
they bought into the sob story for fucking the 100th time and they go on to commit heinous crimes. And I mean, you've seen some of Biden's people that he's tried to get confirmed get questioned by Senator fucking John Kennedy, and he just blazes them for it, for exactly those type of things. And of course, they
Right.
can't answer because what's the actual logical reason? There fucking isn't one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's on,
There's no
that's a
defending those
micro
records.
figure, a macro scale. That's a totally different thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking. Crazy shit, man.
Right.
You got anything else you wanna throw in? I think we're all done with the list. Oh, actually, fucking men have been banned from women's spaces on Capitol Hill. All right. So in another step toward step away from wokeness, which again was another one of my predictions for 2024, that wokeness is going to become a fucking joke. It's going to become a laughing stock, and people are going to start fucking looking back on it and just making fun of how fucking woke and retarded everything was. Yeah, and we're starting to get there. But either way, fucking with fuck, I can't remember it. I can't remember who it was. The
Nancy Mace.
Nancy Mace.
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, not, I don't remember the name of the trans dude, but
Right. But yeah, it's basically stirring up controversy. They're trying to ban fucking trans people from using the restrooms and shit like that. Like, no, they're trying to ban fucking men from using women's restrooms because it's really kind of uncomfortable for the 99.9% of people that normally use that restroom to have to go in there with the 0.01% that also use that restroom because they fucking have a mental fucking disability. Right. So yeah, that's about the gist of it. I mean, I think the majority, the trans thing was probably the biggest fucking sticking point in the Democrats' platform, right? If they would have fucking dropped the trannies Like, I'm pretty sure they would have probably given us a bit more of a run for our money. But it's like, I don't care how fucking nice of a person you want to be. It's fucking gross to everybody, you know?
Mhm.
Like, there's nobody that's a regular fucking guy, like regular, fucking probably doesn't watch the news too often, maybe just read a fucking article that you found on Facebook or something, they just, someone tries to be a nice guy and shit like that, doesn't want to fucking put anybody down. But yeah, if the question is, should children be allowed to cut off their genitals and go to fucking pride parades and go to fucking strip clubs where men in drag are taking off their clothes for them and shit like that, there's not too many people that would be like, you know what, to each their own, man. Like, and don't get me wrong, there is lots of people like that, but as per a majority of people, I don't see a majority of anybody thinking that way, that aren't pedophiles already,
Teach their own shit's what's led to this point, right? Dude,
right.
I got some unpopular take right now. Here you go. Dude, I don't know, man. I got mixed fucking views on this situation. Obviously, I'm no transmission supporter. I surely don't support the transmissioning of fucking children. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But in this case, that's an elected official. You know what I'm saying? And that's the people's fucking house, dude, paid for by those people's fucking tax dollars just as well. And it's been pointed out repeatedly by both sides that fucking they have private restrooms in their offices. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the extra bathroom in the hallway. Reap what the fuck you sow, because
All right.
the spineless fucking Republicans up until 6 months ago, 5 months ago, fucking have been completely squishy on this and has let it spin off to the point that it's at now. There was zero resistance. Like I said earlier, they were scared of being called some type of isms or phobe, right?
Right.
And so in order to keep their fucking cushy jobs, they fucking let it spin to the point to where it's at now, to where these proclamations and these stupid ass fights has to go on. And I actually agree with the transmission in this fact that I don't know if you've seen its reply, but it was like, this is a fucking distraction. Like, I don't care about using the bathroom. This is a distraction from what the things that they're actually doing or not doing.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I mean, fuck,
Yeah.
transmissions or not, dude, that's pretty goddamn clear cut and on fucking the head, dude. I mean, I'm
Right.
sure we view, what should be done in vastly different ways, but that's reality right there.
Yeah. Like, it's definitely a political stunt, like, to
Yeah.
say the least, um but yeah, I mean, like I say, it really is actually, like I say, absolutely fucking ineffectual to the majority of the people, even the majority of people within Congress, or within the Capitol Hill. um but yeah, yeah, I mean, like I say, it really is a political stunt, but at the same time,
Theater shit.
it's funny.
Theater shit. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, dude, and I like Nancy Mace, you know what I mean? And, she's got her whole past thing where she's, been in, some type of sexual abuse situation, and that's fucking terrible. She shouldn't have to deal with that, but again, she's got a private restroom in her office. You know what I mean? So it shouldn't be that much of an issue, and if it was
Mhm.
on a broad scale, including federal buildings, to where it's, a blanket thing, we're passing this in Congress, like, dudes can't be in women's restrooms, then I would be fucking totally okay with it. But as usual, they're just looking out for them fucking selves, dude. It's just federal buildings. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Well, how much of it could just be like a stepping stone, like how they like to do, like, oh, well, we'll get the law passed here, and then that way we have something to build off of, so we could say, well, it's already a law at this place, like, just make it fucking everywhere else, like, I mean, I don't think that's, again, I purely think that this is a political stunt, I don't think that that's
Yeah.
actually the end goal, but I mean, it does at least have that sort of implication too, that if that were to be some future, fucking perspective, that as especially if with things going back to the state level, if things are going back to the state level, at least they could say, like, dude, they already have that same rule on Capitol Hill. I mean, fucking the federal Congress already decided the same thing. Like, let's just do the same thing down here. We'll fucking put it at, we'll do it for all government buildings, including schools, like, and we'll do it that way, like like I say, again, I don't think that was the actual intended goal, but it does have that effect at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a logical mind would think that, right? But unfortunately, we're talking about squishes, number one. Two,
Mhm.
you have already the establishment in the Senate ganging up to try to thwart fucking Trump's agenda. I mean, obviously they in the next after the next 4 years, they want it to go back to normal. Plus, like you pointed out several times, it's theater. So, once the theater's not needed no more, you won't even fucking hear about it. You know what I mean? And
Right.
then if things like that were stepping stones, like where you could be like, where Congress already fuck, they exempted themselves from Obamacare. I don't want to have to pay that tax. Like fuck, man. You know what I mean? I'd like that to be a stepping stone too. But like you said, like logically, I could see where you're coming from. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, I just don't see our government moving in logical directions at times, man.
Yeah, I mean, they really haven't for quite some time. If anything, the things that Congress should be fucking, deciding on is like, oh well, when we attack these other countries and stuff like that. But instead, they're deciding on who can use what bathrooms, and like, oh, is it okay to have Hawaiian Shirt Day on Friday? Like that's what goes on in our Congress, to an
Yeah,
extent, but yeah, I mean, really, it's all fucking political theater. Everything that's actually of consequence to the United States people is decided by fucking unelected bureaucrats and fucking political fucking shadow donors and shit like that.
yeah, and again, it goes back to your local offices. So even if it returns to the state, like you have, like our mayor here in Tucson, has come out publicly already saying that she's not going to go along with Trump's agendas, and you know
Yeah.
what I mean. She's going to resist this. So,
Right.
I mean, again, it's we got to get the whole system rolling at the same time. And luckily, like we spoke about it previously. Trump kind of almost has like 2 years basically, or 18 months or whatever, to get shit done before Congress and the Senate leave to start campaigning for the midterms and whatnot. But so at least we have a shot at that too. Let's try to change our local government too to help fucking actually push the agenda along and do better for fucking all of us. Even the
Right.
motherfuckers that are out here fucking blah, 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 they'll all feel better when they're making more money. I promise you.
Yeah. But I think a lot of that too is going to change with changing, the culture in general too, which a lot of the censorship that we're getting rid of is going to definitely help out in that because we're going to be able to make fun of these people all day long for fucking for years to come. And I think that's really what has kind of, helped is just like showing the silliness that the left is taken over or has taken on within the last few years. Pretty much that they're still walking around wearing masks. Like
Right.
these people are nuts. And that like now that we're not, gonna get fucking banned or our account shut down and shit like that for actually pointing this shit out and fucking like making memes out of it and making fun of people again, making shame great again. I think as a culture we can start to move in the right direction where everybody's not just so sensitive and worried about everyone else's feelings and all this and that type shit. We could get back to
Yeah,
a
bring back the comedy.
right. Yeah, if I can do it, if people can't handle it, like I'm sorry, there's Canada.
Yeah. And speaking of which, on that, and even with the Mar-a-Lago trip, right? You seen Zuckerberg was just there too, and he was there, blowing Trump too, kissing the Don's ring, talking about, he's going to stop, trying to be, using, the censorship apparatus and yada yada. But we'll see. We'll fucking find out because that's one of the main culprits there. That guy went along with everything and
Right.
then cried about it afterwards, man.
Yep. Yep. If I can try to, oh, I was honeypotted. I didn't know I was a victim here. Like,
Right.
I was told that it was disinformation. What was I to
I'm a
do?
libertarian now, man.
Right. Fucking Zuckerberg, man. Ugh. But yeah, it's definitely a new dawn. It's a new era, At least we hope so. Like we say, I think what the state or what the establishment is going to be trying to do their damnedest over the next 4 years is try and paint Donald Trump as abnormal and try and like, oh, we need to get back to a place of normalcy. And I think they're going to try and uh uh like I said, like continue to paint. Well, basically, it's always easier to fight when you're politically when you're not the one fucking making all the decisions. It's always easier to point out all the mistakes the other guy is making. But in terms of Donald Trump being in power, I mean, now that it's the establishment media is just going to go right back to, oh, he did this. Oh, look at him. Look how he poured the fish food in. That's what it's going to be all over again. And yeah, I think they're going to try and put a stop to the whole idea of MAGA and try and get back to a what they call normal.
Back to the descent of the West, man.
Right.
Like so, the light of liberty unfortunately shines on the coast of New York, but it does shine in America. And once that light's fucking extinguished, regardless of how you feel about your current situation, it really is the fucking last bastion. I mean, you see, like we were talking earlier about the UK, the rest of the West is pretty much fucking gone at this point, man. I mean, you got Western, the Western portion of East Europe that seems to be a little more nationalistic and has their head on. But, for the most part, it's fucking gone, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that could be us. That could definitely be us,
Quickly. I mean, Kamala was all about, they got to have repercussions is on these platforms. And, Hillary, one of the main advisors to the fucking, DNC at many points. What was she saying? People should possibly face jail for fucking Facebook posts what they deem dis or misinformation, which we know everything that they've called such has turned out to be fucking exactly what we were saying it was for years now.
Right.
And
But
even
again,
now, you can't say too much. I keep having to watch my shit because of the old Jesus tubes. Like, don't get me wrong, the entities are still in place. It's just, we're built in alternatives and, they're trying to compete to an extent, I guess.
right. But in terms of, changing culture, that goes back to, what we were talking about earlier with
School.
fuck. I forgot what it was. I had
The
it for a
school
sec.
systems. I mean, just like the Frankfurt, right? I mean, just like what was it Mark said, man? I mean, you can't have the fucking, the agenda, the movement, the revolution without the children. And we've let them do that. Obviously, I mean, the Frankfurt factory just churns them out at this point. That's where you get all these people, blocking traffic in the street right now. But that's why you got to start there. And that's the big thing about getting rid of the education department and giving it back to the hands of the localities so the parents could be more involved. And you got to give idle hands something to do, because if you just give them a life of being able to sit around on their tablets and shit, that's that stuff calls, rather
Right.
than show them that they can achieve some shit and make them proud of themselves. Give them a trade.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, fucking what I was gonna say was uh their loss of credibility too. That's really gonna hinder their their ability to, I guess, if I can get people back on board with what they're doing and shit like that. So I mean that again is the another part of the new dawn rising in America. A new age is rising in America, as Dr. Turley would say, is the fact that they've destroyed their credibility so much to a point where basically everything that you hear on the mainstream news nowadays, in terms of the general public, is going to be taken with a grain of skepticism, and
Yeah.
the one thing that does worry me though is, of course, if you look at the electoral map and shit like that, yeah, it looks like it was a huge sweep and shit like that. But in terms of, like I say, the popular vote, it still was narrow. It was narrow enough, like you
I
say.
mean, it was still millions of votes, and he won the electoral college by 31%, dude. So
Right.
it's fucking.
But what I mean by narrow is the fact that there's still 70 some million people that live among us that still don't see what is taking place in their country.
Yeah,
And
and then
there's
not
still
to
that
mention
many
there's
people.
another fucking 100 million at least, right? Or maybe 60 if you want to be conservative because of children and whatnot that don't even vote.
Right. Yep. Of course, the place to aim, man, is the fucking is the Utes.
Right.
That's the next. That's who's going to inherit all of this. I mean,
So I was saying you got
from
to reverse some of that ideological subversion, bro.
right. Like I said, it's a good thing that they fucking have their war on straight white young men, or straight white men in general. Fucking because again, that just pushes them right fucking into the arms of the right wing.
Tread west, right wingsies.
Right. Yeah. But all right, man. Anything else you want to throw in before we get up out of here?
Not a damn thing. Everybody fucking enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you had a good time, man. And come back and see us again. We appreciate you hanging out. Smell you later.
Yeah. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video out with your friends. Let us know what you guys think. Hope you guys had a happy Turkey Day. If you did, let us know in the comment section. Gobble gobble, motherfuckers. Peace.